Then one. Yes.
All right. And we are live. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Khoto, your host for today. I am joined here by Wandile Sihia. He is our technical aspect in the drone technology. So today we're going to be unpacking just as to what does he do, what is it that makes everything work for him in the drone industry in terms of technology. Wanile, before we continue, I would like for you to kind of just give us your just the background, introduce yourself to the fans and everybody watching at home so that we can be able to continue.
Good day. Thank you so much, Godzo. I see that my image is not visible. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
All
Uh,
right, so whenever you're ready.
visible. Am I visible?
No, you're still not visible.
Okay.
Rather, your screen is just changing sizes.
Okay. Can I just? Let me fix this.
All right, maybe you can like leave and rejoin. Okay. All right, so we're currently just waiting for Wandile to rejoin so that we can, unpack. All right, so you are visible. We are live. Can you hear me?
100%. Thank you so much. Hi, Godzo. But yeah, just to head back where we started, my name is Wandi Lesi here, and I am a quantity surveyor by profession and a drone enthusiast, and I'm also a registered drone pilot with a Bayview loss rating. So yeah, my desire and aspects within integrating AI and my studies started with me developing a drone as a hobby and as a desire to one day be those tech guys on a construction company that don't have to wear, your overalls and makalaba and become, like the site inspectors I used to see who were always nice and posh, and it led me down the rabbit hole to become a unique construction engineer. And yeah,
All right, that is a very lovely introduction of yourself. I do appreciate that. And also, I just like to take on the hobbies. So it's the first time I'm hearing somebody actually being a professional through their hobbies, apart from like, music and poetry and art, like something outside of that that is just drone technology. So on, on our end, just want to just to confirm, how have drones and AI in your life changed the landscape of project marketing in the past 5 years, especially since you did mention that you did not want to be one of those people on the field with Omakalapa. So, in your take, how has drone technology changed or shaped the landscape of project marketing?
um, so in terms of project marketing, it has catapulted the industry by far, simply because now we have AI assisted renderings of projects. We can get an aerial view, which is a unique selling point, especially for marketing projects. It always helps. You even get a competitive advantage as a company who has drone or drone images to send off to your clients, and then you see more professional, rather than always being writing reports and trying to prove consistently that, okay, this is what's happening, this is the reports, and this is how far we are, this is how we've used the money. When you have a visual representations, as human beings we are all visual, so once you have that visual interpretation and you're able to get that understanding, whether it's AI based, using your beams, particularly in construction and twin building, and you can monitor the progress of the project. I think that is one of the most unique aspects of integrating drone technology within project management.
Thank you. And what industries now like currently leading adopting drone-based marketing and communication?
Based on experience, one more industries than others are actually taking on drone technology. Just for an example, security, which is one of the biggest industries within the drone markets, is growing very rapidly and fast. So once you want to get a drone license, the quickest way to build your hours as a drone pilot is through security. Because you can work longer hours, and also the clients that usually want drone inspections for security are saving millions, more than anything. Whether it's cable theft or zamazamas on a mining site, you're able to detect that very far and you get accurate feedback, because once you're in a mine, those places are huge and there's a lot of places to hide. But then a drone can come in from 400 feet and give you an accurate location of the person using thermal heat cameras and sensors. And then in the long run, you save 5, 10 million rand. So yeah, they end up spending the drone part of their budgets just to emphasize on security and ensure that their assets are safe.
Hmm. All right, thank you so much. So we can just say in a nutshell, apart from construction side, most industries that are leading or that are benefiting more would be the mining industry.
Yeah, security industry.
Security industry, sorry. Okay, because I heard you making the example of mining. That's why I was just associated the two. Uh,
Okay.
so, like in your experience, what are some of the most impactful real world examples of combining drone footage with AI analysis in this regard?
More than anything, I'm still working on a concept that I think will also change the aspect of how we as South Africans look into drone technology within construction. But there's a variety of different tools like your real-time surveillance, your object detection, your and stuff like that, which
Mm,
actually really help get as a stakeholder understand the value that your company has or is going to gain in the long run with these staple tools. For an instance, one of the tools I've developed is using AI is object detection. That is to count breaks on a wall and
mm,
also identify hairline cracks, and also to use drones to identify workers on sites that are lacking, whether they don't have their PPE, your helmets, your gloves, and protective vest. So, yeah, in the long run, it's definitely going to be a tool that is worthwhile and to use efficiently. It all just depends on the creativity and, at the end of the day, the way you want to use the tool specifically with AI and understanding what is AI. Because, we've used the term AI so loosely lately that, anything is AI, even a jack in the box.
yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry for cutting you. I was just agreeing with you that we've used AI so much. All
Mm.
right. So, can we now say, or how can AI enhance data collected from drones beyond visual imagery?
Yeah, more than anything, it's about us understanding what we want from the AI, you know. So, for instance, in geographical surveillance and mapping, you'd get a high accuracy of the terrain and mapping, and you get analysis of bulk excavations and infrastructure assessments and all of that stuff. More than anything, what I really like about using AI in different industries, especially from a construction or project management uh, background, is twin buildings, being able to scan the process of the building and then marking that to maybe a Revit rendering you have, which is gonna show you the complete building versus what you have right now. And when you match those things in a line, you end up seeing, okay, this column is not in the right place, but now it's still at less than a meter. So let's demolish it and put it in the right place rather than building a whole section of the building only to find out it's not theoretically correct with its positions. And yeah, it's just accuracy that we need prior to actually doing stuff, because sometimes we can stand in the line and say something is straight, but when you look at it from a different angle, it's
Yes.
totally the opposite.
Okay, just one fascinating take on that because you are speaking of geomapping. Just want to understand, with in terms of data analysis or data collected from drones beyond the visual imagery. Do, in your case, or like in general, in, with the drones that you are using or the kind of project that you may be running, does it then now the mapping of it, does it then capture just the topography of the map or just the whole like in depth view of the whole like location? Let's say for example I'm building a mall or I'm building like a very tall building or a house or something that's going to be like more than 2 stories. How does it then like just step by step, because I want to see, I want to just want to visualize it in my head, like does it then like detail the topography of the map and then it goes into detail like as to what's underneath, or that's like a different section or a different surveys tool that is then used to determine as to is it too steep, is it too like this? And also does the drones that you guys use, or the description of of the drones, do they then go beyond the surface, like checking the top, the environment around it, the wind, how how tall will this building stand, or that's just from the architecture point of view, or it just does it cover the whole thing, or it's just this part, or please just paint the picture for me. I'm just trying to understand and wrap my head around it. So how does it actually work? I'm sorry, I'm just not using the correct terms for it, but I just want to understand how is it that it actually like work.
Okay, I just want to break it down for you.
Okay.
When it comes to drones, there's a drone, which is the vehicle, and then you get the tools, which is basically your IoT systems, like a LiDAR camera. So a LiDAR camera is like a laser scanner. So it scans distances based on its position. So it's like bouncing a ball on a wall. If you can bounce the ball to the wall and it comes back, you know you're close. If you bounce and it doesn't come back, it's definitely far. So we use different tools like your LiDAR detection and your GPS mapping, which actually then gives you pinpointed positions within the map. So let's say now we have an area and maybe it was an old mine with an old where mine and orgs were dug up a long time ago. For us to actually find out whether that place is safe, we would then deploy the drone with your LiDAR cameras that can also detect, and that will then give us a real-time feedback and bouncing, which will be bouncing back off the walls using your laser, and then will pinpoint 3D dimensional places, and then you can have a visual amalgamated uh, twin building of that specific area you are mapping. So more than anything, the drone allows is a vehicle to get you to a certain place, but the IoT on the drone gets you beyond the position of the drone, which gets you the real time data, gets you the tracking of the project, and can actually go further down within the topography, like you mentioned. So yes, it is possible.
Hmm. Right. And does it there is it like associated with QGIS? Or that's like a
Yes,
different.
100%. Right now, town planners are trying to use drones for GIS rather than getting access from satellites and so forth, which we know has been a proven form for many years. So with drones being closer, it's able to detect all those different layers and so forth. So yeah, you're 100% right. It can definitely work with GIS.
Hmm. Okay, thank you. Fascinating. So cool to know how far these things have grown. And in this regard, what roles does machine learning play in interpreting drone generated data for client reports?
I
It,
feel like yeah, machine learning is the most important part of um, using the drones as a tool.
Mhm,
I believe that's where you can actually make the real money, not just flying the drone and getting it into specific places, but
mhm,
it's getting that data, knowing how to use it, and who the right customer for it is. Once you can identify that, then you're in a whole different ball game than just somebody who's going to be flying drones for 8 hours, and then you know the world is your oyster. So yeah, machine learning has a very critical part to working with drones.
mm. All right, thank you. And for like this regard for project management, because you did mention that it also assists or helps with project management. Does it then enable or how does it like which role does it play in interpreting that data for like client reports specifically for that part?
Okay, so what it actually does, it creates a real-time duplicate or a replica, which is a digital representation of where the project is, with accurate visualization and predictive analytics. That's where your AI and machine learning comes in. When you start predicting, okay, if we've taken us this long to get this far with this much money, how much more will it take us to go for another 6 months, 3 years, or 6 years, or even 60 years within a project, depending on the lifespan of the project.
Okay.
And then you can plan accordingly and how to actually use it, especially with the progress and other digital information, whether it comes to plans, whether it comes to power and utilities, and so forth. But yeah, the drones can be used in variety of projects, because we know project management isn't only for construction.
Mm,
You get project management for whether it's in entertainment, whether it's in agriculture, whether it's in other industries. It's just that I've invested so much of my time and background and knowledge within construction. But yeah, you can definitely also do it in agriculture. It just depends on the kind of drone you're using. It enables you to have different times of operating, because your normal DJI, maybe let's say Maverick 2s or 3s, can go for like 30 minutes maximum endurance, where you have to come back within when your battery is at 20%. And then you get other drones that can go even further. And that's when you get your ROC, which is then your operation certificate, your remote operating certificate, which can then be designated on how far the capabilities of your drone can go, whether you are going way beyond visual line of sight. And then you'd get an ROC for that and predict how far your drone can go and what it can survey based on CAA's regulations.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you for that part of the information, especially with getting the certificate and that recognition. In that regard, what infrastructure or tools should companies invest in to integrate drones and AI technologies effectively?
Um, It particularly depends on what kind of tools they want to use it for. But just for operating drones, you can go something as simple as your audio pilots, mission planners, or you can do something as innovative as, using your um, Python AI analytics to use your artificial intelligence to identify objects and so forth. Yeah, so with the tools that are definitely necessary, it'll also depend on your project at hand. And yeah, um, the opportunities and possibilities are endless.
Thank you so much for that. And Ken, if you don't mind, just sharing a few opportunities, or so that you can just paint like a picture for somebody who might be interested in maybe drone technology or something closely related to like drone or surveying, or maybe let's say construction per se. Like, what are some of the examples that you may just give me?
Okay. Just as a quick fact of the day, now we have over 9,000 drone pilots as of now. So it's slowly going to become a saturated market. However, there's a lot of new opportunities and industries that are opening up. But more than anything, people don't realize that there are also other roles within uh, uh, remote pilots systems, such as your examiners, your instructors, and different other, phases where there are fewer people, but it's a lot more work to do and a lot more costlier. Um, we are lucky in this day and age where there are a lot of bursaries given out to even young people who are, you know, are willing to go the extra mile and learn about aviation. One thing I can say is that, you know, as much as we think that a drone is a toy, we are working within controlled airspaces with other aircrafts, especially helicopters, which can fly very low. So you have to understand that you are going to be walking into aviation. So you should have good airmanship, which is having the right skills, um, having the knowledge, having spatial awareness, and so forth, and continuously staying fit, which is also a prerequisite of being a pilot and so forth. So there's a lot to take into place and a lot more that of opportunities within the UAS space. So yeah, it just depend on where you want to be and how far you want to take it.
All right. Thank you so much for that information. And if there is somebody who is watching us today at home who might be interested, now you know that there are opportunities out there. And it's, as he did mention, that it's gonna be a saturated market. So you might wanna, get your droning on. I see that on the chat we have. On the socials that we are live on, because we are live on Facebook, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok. And I see that on YouTube, we do have Sibusi Sonkosi, who just commented data analytic. And then we have Lindo Gutlitole on LinkedIn advising that the webinar communities, they are here. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop it on the chat, and Wandile will go ahead and answer so that, we are all learning and we are all unpacking. All right. So at the moment, just checking here in terms of, you did mention the other industry or the other sectors that are into drone technology. Will we say then, how can marketers, because I didn't hear you touching on that, if you're away, or if you could just, touch base on that, how can marketers use AI-driven drone data to create compelling project narrative or progressive visualization?
Um, so yeah, marketers can also use it, especially with film and cinematography. That is also a very booming market within the drone space. So it will always depend on what you want to use it for. So you can use it for like operating to get a visual interpretation of crowd attendance within events. Maybe you are marketing for a client and they need that aerial to give a competitive advantage to other photographers and so forth. Um, so yeah, it would all depend on how you want to use it, but it's definitely a tool that has a lot of licenses and rules and regulations and red tapes. So yeah, I feel like once you go into film and photography, and you're not just using the drone as something you are selling, or you're using the drone full time, and you're out here as a photographer, you can move your way and maneuver your way around actually using drone images for your marketing, especially.
All right, thank you so much for that part of the information. And in this regard, because you did mention drones being vehicles, I don't want to make assumptions. Is it like the same drone, like in terms of like you mentioned photography? Because when we first started, I was thinking drones as in you see like, is it the same tool?
Yes, yes, 100%. It's the same tool. There's just different categories of drones that they can do different things, you know. So you can get your multi-rotor drone, which is the one you're saying, you know, and then you can get and then you can get your fixed wing or VTOLs, which can just they take up from one spot and they start zooming past. And you also, funny enough, helicopters are also under drones. So and we also then get your other instrument flying unmanned aircrafts, which are quite bigger and they don't have a screen, but they can fly using a ground control station. So yeah, there's different variations of drones, but the whole concept behind it is being remotely piloted, where you would not need to be having a man on the aircraft. So they established as unmanned aircrafts.
Unmanned aircraft. Right. Thank you so much for that part. And thank you for the clarity because I was so confused at the same time. Like, okay, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. What kind of drone is it? Is it the one that I can just, because he spoke about the mind. I'm like, okay, cool. So it makes sense. You just, it just, it just wishes there. And all right.
Hmm.
Thank you so much. I get you. I get you in that part. And speaking of the tools that you can like use, and also the human operated and the non-human operated, what's the balance between automation and human touch in like drones? And also, let's say now we are speaking in a different view whereby I am with a client, not a prospect, sorry, a client, and then we are now delivering the information or delivering the information regarding the drone? Like, what balance does then the automated of the automation of the drone and the human touch relay in client communication?
Yeah, okay. So in terms of clients communication, you can have an accurate time lapse of what your project is actually about before and after, and it can also captivate your investors or your stakeholders. Um, and then from the drone point of stuff, you'd have to have the relevant skills and documentations in order to operate and sell that information as raw data to your client. So you need the skills, to fly. You need the knowledge to understand how aerodromes work, because sometimes might think you're flying a drone in your own capacity, but you're flying in a controlled airspace, and there's different rules and regulations for that. That hence why you don't see drones at an airport, because they're restricted at flying at certain places. So yeah, it will just also takes for you to understanding, to having the knowledge about your drones and spatial awareness, and then going off to your clients, you'd also have to then understand your strategies and so forth on how to actually market, and your media briefings, and how you can actually make this tool give you a competitive advantage to your specific clients. And yeah, I think if you can amalgamate the two, you can definitely build a relevant career within the aviation space.
Hmm. Right, thank you so much for the info. And I wasn't aware that you're not allowed to fly a drone at an airport. So that is new. That is new. Now I'm just thinking somebody's landing a plane. You're also just busy there toying with your drone. Yeah, it's just.
Right. It's right.
it's
Imagine a plane flying into your drone, and then, because sometimes these planes are just metal sheets and a skeleton. So sometimes a drone can just, once an aeroplane is flying fast enough through the drone, you might go through a wing or in an engine, and then mayday, mayday. So we don't want that. Hence why there's a lot of information and understanding, especially the radio calls, and understanding your alphabetic fonts and your altitudes and your flight levels, and how to fly the flight plan, and when to talk to the airport towers, and how to talk to the airport towers, and how to ask for a clearance and so forth at specific heights, and understanding your position. So that's the first thing you actually do once you start becoming a drone pilot. You start speaking that language so you can operate, functionally.
operator. I hear you. I hear you. I'm just thinking of how to speak to them. Like, okay, operator. I'm flying now.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for that. And how does integrating AI-driven drone reporting improve transparency and client relationship?
Yes, like that's what I was actually trying to, get to, but I was using these bombastic words. But yeah, man, that's exactly what I'm actually trying to talk with about when giving the transparency to the
Mm,
client, for them to understand your time lapses, and for them to appreciate your work more than anything. So that's my biggest selling points, especially in how we can use AI and so forth, particularly with drones. It can give an accuracy to the information you have on ground and on site. It can give the clients a sense of relief,
mm,
especially when okay, I've seen this, even though I didn't see it from this perspective. You know, Imagine just discovering the ninth wonder of the world using a drone, only to find out that's a project you built. You know, that's how validating getting this information from a drone is.
mm. All right. Thank you so much. Just please kind of just dumb it down for me. I am trying to just I want to see it in concept. Uh, let's like just give you like an example of a project, not from start to finish, of course, but now when it comes to that, the reporting part of it, so that I can, like, so we can see it in motion as to how is it exactly, or how does it actually do it? Because I do hear that you get to see this, you get to explore this. I want to piece it all together. If you can just give me just one real life example of a AI driven drone doing a reporting or improving reporting transparency within the client relationship.
Okay, more than anything, it's just I would like to talk more about like mines and so forth. Let's say using your drone to identify within the mine your zamazamas. Let's say now you have a pilot doing night shift 8 hours a day at night, and you actually catching four criminals a day,
Mm,
compared to when there was a security company and they would just scare people and they hide in the next bush, and then in the next bush, when it actually gets people down on the ground, identifying, using the drones with um, temperature sensors and so forth, and uh, night cameras where they can identify, okay, there's the bucky there. That's approximately 7 kilometers away from the security guard, and he can never get there because this is the bush, and this Zamazama guy stays here. So he knows the bush better
mm,
than the security. So being able to identify, okay, this is where they hide and this is where they do, so we can then start building a new fence now to stop where those people are. And also with your clients could also have accurate progress monitoring, and
mm,
side by side comparison of what it's like to have a security company without the tool of having a drone compared to having it on, understanding how then track vast amounts of land compared to actually tracking
mm,
land on foot. you know so yeah, it's the outcome is uh it goes beyond just micro communication, and then the trust is then increased because now we have ocular proof that, okay, this is what's happening on your sites. Did you know about this? Oh, okay, there's a camp that is developing and it's approximately 15 kilometers uh,
mm,
away from where you usually stop and think you have to patrol. But there's a camp that's happening 50 meters away, and we wouldn't have identified it because we have all our eyes focused on the specific mine. But now there's somebody else infringing on your property and digging holes and finding more gold than you are in a hole that you've been digging up for the past 30 years. So, yeah, everything is documented visually.
visually. All right, thank you. I did mention security. I'm like, okay, so we are. It's not
Yeah,
just
you must
surveying.
become
You're just seeing everything. What's this called? The bird view, bird eye view, or something. It's bird view, right?
bird eye view. You're
Bird eye
definitely
view.
right.
All right, all right. Thank you. All right, and in that regard, like in terms of the client and reporting and stuff like that, how can then like the marketing teams ensure that AI generated insight are communicated clearly and meaningfully to non-technical client?
Um, so, how can you repeat the question in terms of marketing?
Yes, like in marketing, how can marketing teams ensure that the AI generated insights from the drones are communicated clearly and meaningfully to non technical clients? Like right now, we are speaking in technical terms. You are telling the client this and this and that. So, how can now, let's say I'm somebody, I've just hired your services through maybe a marketing thing that I saw, and then I know nothing of this, but I know that you can get this done for me. So, how can now the marketing team use that AI generated insight from the drones as well to communicate it clearly and meaningfully to me, a non technical client?
Okay. No, 100%. So it's just that I'm trying to understand whether it's the marketing in terms of media and so forth and stuff.
Yes, marketing in terms of media.
Okay.
For a person who needs services, right, but they don't have any like knowledge of it, or sorry, knowledge of like the execution. You know how you get like those big baller client customers or clients that will want your service, but they know nothing of what's to happen here, but they know in their head this is what I want to see done, but they don't know the whole process of it. So they'll maybe like, let's say they'll hire your services through a marketing company or a marketing campaign that you're running or something like that, to say, hey, please get this done for me, and then okay, cool, we can get that done for you through that channel. So how do they then report back and give it back to them in a term that it's going to be able to be clear and meaningful to them?
Okay. I think more than anything, um, how marketers can use drone images for their clients to actually use the drones and the information they get, which would then be analyzed through the data they have collected to give AI annotated visuals. So
Mm,
basically, you're able to see the progress and what was and versus what is, and
mm,
also getting 3D models of the project. Also, identifying your different, how can I call it, your risk indicators, to
mm-hmm,
indicate this is a hazardous risk or this is a suggested action we should take,
mm,
and also being also able to not overwhelm your clients with the information, because at the end of the day we are all visual beings. If I
mm,
were to write right now four rings that are intertwined, you automatically know it's Audi, you know
mm,
so as human beings we're just naturally more visual, so that will also help improve what the client actually sees for value, compared
mm,
to consistently just hearing big words that you know are not necessarily compatible to their lingo, and
mm,
and you can give information that is easy to read, and you can also present infographics, trend lines and so forth. That's where your data analytics then comes in, where you're not just showing a raw AI dashboard. You're now showing how this information is yielding fruitful information, you know and then
mm,
you can color code your things and use heat maps. You can create 3D models from your drone information, and find a way to speed up decision making.
mm. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I like that take. So, like in a nutshell, they should focus on the outcomes of like the whole the value. In some cases, they should call like an ROI, and then also avoid using jargon with the client, and then also apart from maintaining transparency, they should also be visual storytellers, or like show the client the bigger picture, show them the actual results.
Mm.
All right, thank you.
100%.
Thank you so much for that information. Moment, we are still live, available on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. If you have any questions, we'll be here. We'll gladly answer the questions for you, tackle the questions for you. Well, one delay, we'll be answering the questions for you. I'll just be reading them out loud for you. All right, so we are moving on. So, in your experience, what are the main challenges in implementing a drone and AI technologies from regulations to data integration?
Yeah, there's a lot of red tape, and more than anything, it needs capital,
Mm,
you know. Yeah, there's just a lot of red tape, and the only way to make it through it is through capital. Because you know, once you start working towards your RPC, which is your remote pilot certificate, the first
mm,
things you have to know and study is your RT exam, which is your radio, your technical, restricted technical radio exam.
mm,
As I mentioned, being able to communicate with the towers, understanding the laws and heights and altitudes and the different aerodromes and your classes of aircrafts, you know, from your small unmanned aircraft to your
mhm,
Class C commercial flights, and then to all the way to your ATMs and CTAs, which are then your Class C and A aircrafts, your international flights, understanding when to file a flight plan, um, filing a flight plan, and understanding the different controlled airspaces and reading a map. I didn't think I would need the geography I learned in high school, but a lot more intense than what I intentionally did geography for. But it really helped me a lot because now, before I even fly my drones, I need to identify the weather, identify where the airspace, how far the drone is going to go. If there's a potential of losing signal and the drone flies away, I should be able to um, tap into my radio and have the right frequency for the aerodrome that it can approximately fly to, and also have the numbers, and also then be able to communicate immediately and inform people around the area that my drone is flying away, you know.
mm,
And then you go into your RPC training where they teach you everything from the mechanisms within the drone, and they teach you more advanced about the weather and all of that stuff. And then you then go and do your BV loss rating where it's flying your drone beyond visual line of sight,
mm,
where then you don't need your controllers to fly a drone. You basically flying the drone through a laptop, and it can go to distance of even more than 20 kilometers, you know. But
mm,
also understand that since it's a drone, you are restricted to 400 feet, which is 122 meters, and if you want to fly higher than that, you need to get the approval from CAA, your Civil Aviation Authority, and you'd have to sit them down and be like, "Hey, look, I've made a concept where the drone can literally fly 50 kilometers away. Do you guys approve it or not?" And then they ask you to test it and see how that works, and then they give you the approval, and then in your ROC you can then confirm that your drones can fly 50 kilometers away and so forth, because one thing I have definitely noticed within Africa, um, actually, I'd like to say across the whole world, our
mm,
CAA regulations are very advanced, hence why you don't hear a lot about these accidents happening within our aircraft systems or aerodromes. But when you hear, or when you start looking at your aircraft investigations, all these FAA planes start falling, and
mm,
you have crashes in American soil and so forth, and thousands of people dying.
mm,
So we're very lucky to be under ACOA, which is from United Kingdom, and we are actually, bonded with them in terms of rules. So
mm,
even if you want to be a drone pilot, you need to be 18 years old. You need to have a pass mark of above 75% for all your results and your tests and so forth. Just to further emphasize, good airmanship, because more than anything, that is highly, highly, highly important to have the
Mm,
right airmanship, and where you're able to understand your spatial awareness, you have the skills, you have the knowledge, and all of that stuff to actually work within the industry. So you have to think far and beyond, just what you want to do, and then actually understand, okay, this is what's going to happen, this is where I want to be, and this is how this can actually shape my character towards, so and so and so, how far, you know.
mm. All right,
So
thank
yeah.
you. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much for that part. I really do. So I just want to understand then, since you didn't mention that one of the challenges would be pricing or would be capital, how can then small or mid-sized firms adopt these tools affordably without needing a full house tech team?
Yeah, 100%. So it will all depend, because getting your ROC would cost you anything from as little as 200,000 to
Mm,
800,000, even more than that, depending on what you actually want to do.
mm,
So the best way would be to partner with an ROC holder where they have been approved for having drones operating and so forth. Then you wouldn't go through the tedious emphasis and delays of actually buying a drone and waiting for accreditation, because each and every paper that gets sent to CAA costs money, So if you have a company you have a joint venture with, or you're collaborating with, where
mm,
they do the services, and then you produce the results as a marketer, whether it be a 30, 60-second explainer video, or a drone flyover with narrations and visual walkthroughs of a site, that's what you can do with, and they'll get the images for you, and then you market that side of things. I think that would be the easiest way to approach it. And
mm,
then, yeah, um, more than anything, it's just having the right knowledge to know what you want to do with the drones and so
with the
forth,
drones.
because you don't necessarily have to own one, but
Mm,
getting data and that information to then use it to get your transparency with your clients. If that's what you want, then you can find other cheaper ways to actually get that information.
with that. Alright, thank you so much. So, do you happen to know like any examples apart from, any examples of how to get the information? Maybe any cheap alternatives or just the ones that are there that are standardized?
Okay, so everything is published on the CAA website, which is usually your AIP, your aerodrome information, and that is published for you to understand who are the different ROC holders. You'll see there's a list of almost 100 different ROC holders. You can
Mm,
literally go there to the documents, run their number, contact them, and be like, I'm in this area, this is what I work with. Does your ROC allow you guys to do this, and how can we work together? And being bada boom, you've got a solid business model. So yeah, the information is definitely available.
mm. All right. And how do you then see the role of marketers evolving as AI and drones become standard in communication workflows?
Yeah, I think for me, most importantly, it's managing your risk,
Mm,
and improving on your completion forecasts, and being able to get your key customer or client concerns sorted. Um, with that, I think those are my top three priorities that I think that as marketers we can definitely dive deep into, and actually find a way to, you know, solve and stay within AI for the long run.
mm. All right. Thank you so much for just clarifying those points for me. I see that we are now 55 minutes in. It's been almost an hour and it just feels like 30 minutes. This is so bad. I'm just learning a lot at the moment. I just want to this is just for my side personally on the end, because I did the environmental management. I want to know, do you work closely with the environmental practitioners, the assessors, the environmental assessors? Do you work with them?
Yeah,
Maybe.
100%. I came across um, an environmental or a bioengineer technical where they actually use drones to identify water samples and so forth, and they collect these different samples and they get aerial pictures on how they can actually um, improve the hygiene of the water and the microorganisms within the waters and so forth. So I definitely think that's also a unique niche market. Um, with time, that would actually, the data you get using that would actually be very important for further research within the industries. So I think that would also be a very nice PhD topic, right?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, because you're talking about all of these examples, you're explaining, you're delving to them. I'm like, okay, cool. So does this now apply to an environmental assessment practitioner? Because we do check the environmental impact of the project prior to it being done. So do the drones also like apply in this case? Can they help? I'm like, do you know if they can help? Because I'm like, oh, this is this is so interesting. All right, thank you so much, Vanille. So, looking at the future outlooks, like what ethical or privacy considerations should marketers keep in mind when using drone and AI technologies?
um, yo, I was so tempted to say the Poppy Act, but yeah, more than anything, that is
Right.
also something they have to be worried about because to even
Mm,
fly the drone, you need your landowner's permission, depending on that actual project and all of that stuff. Because we do a risk assessment, which is almost 6 pages. It can even be 200 pages, depending on whether it's a new project or not. So
mm,
we'd have to understand the risk. We have to understand the people that are being approached and the amount of visual perspective you have over the land you're going onto. And yeah, more than anything, don't fly a drone illegally. You are gonna get caught.
and you're gonna
Yeah,
cause crashes. So,
sure, exactly.
yes. and and what future trends do you foresee in visual marketing and smart project communication?
There's this one thing I'm so fascinated about, and China is definitely ahead of the curve in it, where they are creating air shows using drones, where the drone can light up, and then it's a dragon, then it's a house, and it's over 2,000 drones, and I would love to get to that piece, and have like even if it's like an Asante Solutions banner on the wall and it's 50,000 drones, type of thing. That's definitely where I see the future being, where we wouldn't necessarily need billboards,
Hmm.
but we have live drone concerts, you know. So yeah, I think that would be the future. I would love to see that.
Me too. Me too. I saw something on TikTok. I'm not sure if my eyes were deceiving me, but there's a guy who proposed to his now fiance by blocking out light. There was something about drones being used. I'm not sure if you saw that on on TikTok. So with what you're saying, I'm just thinking, could that be also like be the same thing? So if it is the future, it is the future. You
Hey,
know.
I think that would be a nice feature. Slowly ngama-drone. Hi, ngabe
Yes.
silamile. But yeah, no, I think that is definitely something I would love to see. But yeah, it's definitely happening and it is possible. But yeah, yeah, I don't think I've seen that specific video, but I have a visual understanding of what you're actually talking about.
Right, please check it out on TikTok as soon as we chatting it, so you can just confirm for me if I was
Yeah.
dreaming or what was going on. All right, so it's been very very fun, Wandile. Thank you so much for tuning in, for joining us, and to everybody watching us at home, whether you're on Facebook, you're on LinkedIn, you are on YouTube and TikTok. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week, Thursday, 6:30 till 7:30. This is me signing out with Wandile on our Asante MarTech webinar series. But before we sign out with Wandile, just
Hmm.
one piece. What takeaway or what key takeaway would you want to marketers and communication professionals to remember from this session?
Um, I think for me, the key takeaway would be understanding what you actually want to use the data for. More than anything, the future is definitely ahead of us, and we need to get into the groove while it's still getting lubricated. So yeah, I think more than anything, the key takeaway would be take a chance, get informed, and get into the industry as soon as possible. More than anything, I feel like people are afraid to use drones or get drones involved into their marketing strategies and so forth because they feel like it's a totally new concept and
Mm,
more than anything, sometimes they think you can just go buy a drone at the mall, whether it's Chokers or whatever, and that's how it operates. It's that's not necessarily how you can make money. And if you're making money off ShopRite drones, hey, but yeah, more than anything, yeah, I just think the greatest takeaway is to get informed. And like, I like the question you asked me, how do we find out where we can get these people with the ROCs? Go onto the CAA website, search your IPs, and you'll find all the relevant information and understand how the drones and aviation spaces work, And if you want to find out more on what an actual drone should do or look like, or the regulations and the standards, we have cats and cars within aviation. So
mm,
your cats are your technical standards, and your cars are your regulations. So your regulation tells you that a drone must have a number plate, and then your technical standards are going to tell you that there must be a fireproof drone, and there must be another four other number plates which have black writing and a yellow background and so forth. The more you get to read these rules and regulations, the more you'll understand how you could actually use this for your best advantage.
mm. Great, thank you so much. So the words you have to be intentional with your data, know the rules and regulations, study the drone, don't just fly the drone. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that insightful piece. I really do appreciate it. We will see you again next week, Thursday, 6:30 till 7:30. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, and thank you to Asante Solutions.
You
Peace.
are welcome. I want to say boo, 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 boo.
I was about to say that one carter, but it's okay. As the
You
AC, you're always gonna have the last say. So, poo, 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 poo. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.